Hello and welcome to another episode of Guns and Yellow Ribbons. I'm your host again today. It's Dan Potts. You will know me now as Pottsey. And we are doing another 1 to 11 today on a special podcast with another Guns and Yellow Ribbons panelist. The international break is now over. Arsenal are back, thank goodness. And we are at Sheffield United away tomorrow. Somebody who is on their way to Sheffield United tomorrow is one of our panelists, Scunny. Scunny, welcome. How are you, buddy? Oh, we can't hear you. You're on mute, mate, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. I don't know what's going on with my camera. It's having a...
The sunshine. It looks like the sun is shining, mate.
It's having a moment, I think. It
Is that what it is?
Ago.
Oh, it won't.
No, the sun ain't even shining. We're up north. Come on.
Oh, that's true. This is true. How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah. Good, mate. Good. Right.
Good stuff. Be that's better. There we go. The Sheffield United game tomorrow. You're going, yeah?
Yes, mate, I am.
You are. You reckon it's going to rain like it did at Old Trafford, mate? Get a bit soaking wet?
I hope not.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it? You went away to Old Trafford and it was absolutely hammering it down, wasn't it?
Oh, mate. I had puddles in my trainers. It was awful. I thought I had Trent foot. That's how bad it was.
Oh, mate, shocking. You can guarantee wet weather up there, mate, can't you? That's for sure. You know that better than me.
Yeah, definitely. It's dry today, so hopefully, fingers crossed.
Hopefully you'll be right. Have you been before? Is it your first time up there? Or?
First time to Sheffield away. I went to Hillsborough when we played in the was it Carling Cup back when we had the dodgy third kit with these, the blue and white stripes, like a dark blue top with a blue and white, blue and gold, or white and gold. I think I've got that. Absolutely. I think I've got that top actually. To be fair.
Oh God, dreadful. We've had some bad away kits, haven't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Mate, we are doing a 1 to 11. Be honest, how tough was it picking 1 to 11?
Well, I'm quite a late gooner, so for me, it's going to be probably a bit the same old. People probably think, "Oh God, I'm tuning out of this because this guy's boring."
I wouldn't have thought that, mate. I've seen your 1 to 11. I think there's a lot of interesting selections, mate. So
So you got I started swimming, say late 90s, but I didn't really get into him up until it's probably early 2000s. So mine's going to be obviously around the Invincibles era, a lot of them. So if you want to tune out now, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Mate, there's nothing wrong with talking about Arsenal Invincibles as far as I'm concerned, mate.
No, there is that.
So what era of football are we talking then? Are we talking sort of the Arsene Wenger days?
Yeah, I wouldn't say his early days. I'd probably say in the sort of the mid ranges, probably into I can't. When did he start again? I can't remember. 96.
Well, he was 96, so I guess it's going to be.
So I'd probably say 2000 and I'd say 2002 onwards. I think most of them.
Well, mate, that was the great days, wasn't it?
Peak era.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. Yeah, start off with them, mate, with your goalkeeper. Who have you gone for and why in goal?
Well, I've gone for Jens Lehmann. I did see David Seaman play, obviously, because like I say, I was a fan in the 90s, late 90s, so I did see him play, but the majority of the things I saw was Jens Lehmann, and obviously with that, he's got to be my number one keeper there, just for that. My camera's going nuts, isn't it? I'm going to have to shut the curtain in a minute.
That's all right, mate. You're fine. It's just lighting up your amazing face and your hat, mate. That's all it's doing.
Oh, yeah, because it's cold up here, isn't it?
That's it, mate. That's it. So with Lehmann, obviously there was. You say you saw David Seaman. What if you could compare the two goalkeepers? What did you like about Jens Lehmann?
Hang on, I'm gonna have to sort this out. I apologise.
Yeah, go on. That's all right, mate. You do what you got to do because it's obviously going nuts over there, isn't it? Your camera.
Right, that's better.
Hey, that is much better.
There we go. I'll shut a curtain because the sun's just come out. You see, it's broken from the clouds. It's all up north.
There we go.
See, we do get sun up here.
So Jens Lehmann, then explain what did you like about Jens Lehmann?
Well, for me, Jens Lehmann, I think he was probably, for me at the time, I would say he's probably one of the best goalkeepers going. With the things that he said, you see, people don't know this, but I'm going to say it. Fergus is in the background, and he's a massive control freak, and these are the reasons where this is coming up. He can't let me do it on me and Dan on his own. He can't do it. Yeah, Irish Paul Merson. That's right.
That is him. That is the Irish.
He has to do it. He's a control freak. Right. Anyway, where was I? Jens Lehmann. For me, yeah, he was the best goalkeeper in the world at the time, I thought. And he spelled that wrong, hadn't he, as well?
He has spelled it wrong. Yeah, he's gone for Seaman with an L.
He has, hasn't he? Oh no, you're putting me off, Fergus. Yeah, so, and obviously the pinnacle for me in his career is obviously the Invincible season. I don't think there was a goalkeeper around that could match him during that time, especially in that year. And unfortunately for me, I think one that really goes over it, what he goes against him more than anything is his red card in the Champions League final, which wasn't a thing. Well done, Fergus. Well done. He spelt it right. He's checked it on Google.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the one thing that people will forget him for. But you got to remember the
in my eyes, it wasn't a red card. Obviously, I'm going to be biased because I'm an Arsenal fan, but it wasn't a red card. No chance.
But for me,
Barcelona's been paying refs us for years.
Lehmann, for me, the two penalty saves, one in 2005 against Paul Scholes, where we went on to win the FA Cup, and also to get us to that Champions League final was the save against Riquelme at Villarreal, wasn't it, at Highbury?
Yeah, so, that's correct.
People forget about that, and they remember the nutty side of him, but they forget
how great he was a nutty keeper, but the thing is, he was one of them keepers that he controlled his defence and he controlled it well. He wasn't afraid to open his mouth, and that's what people like about goalkeepers.
Absolutely, and that gives the confidence in the defence as well, doesn't it? If you've got a commanding keeper behind you, so absolutely, probably do something like that now, mate. To be honest, some leaders in the team like him would be good, wouldn't it?
Don't get me wrong. I think Leno's getting there, but I don't think he's no Lehmann, is he?
This is true, mate. This is true. Yeah, I think he'd like to be a Lehmann, though, wouldn't he? Let's be honest.
Well, yeah,
absolutely. Have you gone for a back four, back three?
I've gone for my formation. I have gone 4-2-3-1, only because I was struggling with a lot of people to choose from, and the reason why I've gone for a back four is I think a back four is probably best for me because it averages out the guys who I enjoyed watching in defence during the time as when I was a proper, well, I say proper fan, but when I started getting
a youngster growing up, yeah,
exactly.
So you go for your right back then, because there's been some great right backs for Arsenal over the years, in my opinion.
They are. Sorry, mate, I'm interrupting.
That's all right. No, who have you gone for?
I've gone for Bellerin, and I will tell you the reason for this. I'm probably going to get a lot of stick for this as well, to be fair.
Okay.
But I like Bellerin, and I think he's. What can I say? He's done nothing wrong at all. When you go back through the years, obviously, I could have picked a Boué, I could have picked Lauren, but I have actually gone for Bellerin because I think in time, we're going to see some real value for him, and I think he's going to be up there with one of the greats for definite. He is Arsenal through and through. If you want anyone to say who's Mr. Arsenal now, I would say it's definitely Bellerin over anyone. He's been here since he was a kid. If anyone could have a chance to go back home, for instance, he's never said he's homesick. He's made London his home. He speaks with a London accent, which is kind of strange. But I think recently now people are starting to see without him in the team, and now he's just coming back. If you look over the last few months, for instance, or since the start of the season, everyone has been saying we want Bellerin back. We want Bellerin back, and it shows why we need him back, because he is a good player. Yeah, he's a bit dodgy sometimes in defence, but I think he's still only young. He's only, what is he, 24, 25?
Yeah, he is.
So he is. Was he for young.
You? Do you think he should have been the Arsenal captain, Scunny?
Oh yeah, 100%. If anyone's going to be Arsenal captain at the minute, I reckon it should have been him, 100%.
Because I know we had this discussion about the lack of leadership and stuff, and I know that you picked Bellerin as your captain, and I couldn't really disagree, if I'm honest. I think that he should have been considered.
Well, like I say, if anyone's Mr. Arsenal at the minute, it's him. He's been here since what, 14 to 16. I can't remember.
Yeah, very young.
So he's definitely up there for me, and I reckon he will come good. He's got some amazing speed, and he just proves how quickly he can learn, especially with a new manager. Since we come in, he showed what he's worth last season, defensive wise, and obviously going forward. Yeah, his crossing's a bit hit and miss, but we've had some terrible people who can cross the ball.
Very true.
Theo Walcott.
So
it's just one of them. It's just one of them things. I think he will come good, and I've noticed recently as well. I spotted a couple of pictures with him on obviously through the Arsenal pages and stuff like that. And I thought, bloody hell, he's bulked up a bit. So I think he's got himself, he's getting bulked up. He's
had a haircut, mate.
And he's had a haircut. I didn't mind the long hair. His fashion sense don't bother me. It's how he plays on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So moving to the opposite side then on your left back, who have you gone for as a left back? Because this is always controversial.
This is going to be controversial, but I think everyone else has done it so far. So I think I'm out of the woods on this one. It's Ashley Cole.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, he has spelt that one right. For me, he is the best Premier League left back. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%. He's.
What was your feeling when he left? Was it frustrating for you as much as me? Because we didn't want him to go, did we?
Well, in all fairness, I was mortified as well as angry because obviously what he was coming about at the time, it was Ashley Cole and he's gone for the money and everything else. But I did see something with him recently, and I didn't know whether to believe it or not. It come from him, so it come from the horse's mouth, and he says they offered me a stupidly priced contract. Like just a couple of grand more than what he was on, and it's a case of I'm looking at my team. Give me a break, Fergus. I've got to remember these things. I've got a memory like a goldfish, and it's see what he's put me off. This is what happens when someone you get is a control freak.
This is what happens. This is what happens when people play with controls.
Yeah, exactly. So he only got offered a couple of grand more than what he was probably on, but during the time, you could argue he was the best left back in the world.
Yeah.
And how can you just give him, like, I don't know what he was on, 30, 40, 50,000 or something. And I just don't understand how you can pay him a couple of grand more than what he was actually on. The fact that you never really heard him whinge or whine about his contract. He never come out publicly and ask for a load of money or, like they do now, especially with, current players in our team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he didn't hold the club to ransom about it. They offered him a contract. He said no, and off he went. So there's not a lot we can argue about it. It's just gutting that we let someone of his caliber go.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I totally agree with you. I think the rumour was it was sort of 50 grand a week he was on. He was offered 55 a week. He wanted 60 or nearer 60. And whatever reason, we didn't offer him that. Chelsea did, and he went. And unfortunately, the rest is history. And yes, Fergus, mobile phone, we have seen it. Yes, we have seen mobile phone.
This is a thing, isn't it? So it's just a case of why couldn't you just give him the 60 and we could have had him? He was another one who... he started young at Arsenal. He could have finished his career at Arsenal.
Could have kept taking the armband as well, couldn't he? After Vieira
he could have done. Yeah, he could have done.
Frustrating. Moving on to your centre backs, then, mate. Well, you pick with anyone you want to go with first. Who have you gone with at the back?
First of all, I've gone for Toure. Kolo Toure.
Kolo Toure. Well, we haven't had Kolo yet, have we? Go on, then talk to me about Kolo Toure.
Well, when we first got him, he was a defensive mid, and then they brought him back to centre back, and he absolutely flourished from there, and he was pinnacle to the Invincible season, alongside Sol Campbell, who I might as well talk about them both because they're both in there. My other one is Sol Campbell, and
Are you still there, Scunny? Oh, we missed you. No. Is your computer done it again, is it? Are you back, Scunny? Are you back, mate?
Uh-oh. Anyway, I'll keep talking. Oh, no,
you're back. You're back just about.
What's going on?
Sorry, mate. We got with you with Kolo, but then your computer, I think, froze. So,
right.
Toure and Campbell, you were saying?
My back pair were Toure and Campbell, and obviously it says on there Sol's a gooner. I won't talk too much about Sol because I think other people have talked about him as well. But I couldn't really pick anyone else. Is the best centre back for me during the time when I started watching. And the fact that he got that header as well when we were 10 men down against Barcelona, it was absolutely amazing. And I was screaming because I was in the pub with a few mates of mine at the time who as well as Arsenal fans. So we were jumping around all over the place at that point. And obviously with Toure, is the same. when we brought him in, I can't remember who we bought him from, to be honest. I can't, I should have looked into it a bit more, really, to be fair.
It was actually Beveron. We bought him from Beveron in Ivory Coast, and
Right.
he was. I think he actually played as a striker when we bought him, but then he came
All
more
right.
as a defensive midfielder, and then he went right the way back to centre half. So that's I think why we got him.
And obviously it shows, doesn't it? It shows how good he actually was at centre back, and obviously, like I say, he was pinnacle to a lot of our winning sides, especially during the Invincible season, and get into the Champions League and. Getting to the Champions League final, winning us a couple of, Premier Leagues along the way.
One thing I loved about Kolo was he was a fan's favourite as well, Scunny. Like everyone loved him, didn't they?
Yeah, he was one of them type. He's the same as Sol Campbell. But when you've got a pairing in centre back who are really good, and you can tell, and they work together perfectly, and they're not letting stupid goals in, like and not sliding around on their asses all the time. It's. It just shows how people can get behind him quickly.
Absolutely. Decent back four, mate. You've obviously gone 4-2-3-1, so you've gone for two more holding midfielders. Who have you gone for in the centre of mid?
Well, the first one is pretty obvious. It's got to be the one and only Patrick Vieira. How can you not have someone like Patrick Vieira in?
Everyone's got to have him, surely.
Oh, of course, yeah. If you don't have Patrick Vieira in there, it's one of them things, isn't it? If you're a bit older than me and you started watching him in the 90s, Mr. Obvious, Mr. Arsenal himself, and the next obvious one in the Arsenal side has got to be Patrick Vieira. The fact that he used to just run through people. I used to love that he was a big guy. What was he, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4"?
Oh, monster,
he was a hell of a guy and one hell of a shot as well. When he used to absolutely plant it, and he was so agile as well with his tackling and getting into players. He wasn't afraid of anyone, and we saw that with the Roy Keane battles as well.
Oh, didn't we just?
And I think we've mentioned it before on one of these. Whoever won that battle won the Manchester United Arsenal games.
Absolutely. I think, when Tony Adams left, everyone was worried that the captaincy would be given to someone else who weren't going to be the same. But I thought Vieira was right up there in terms of his leadership.
Oh, of course, yeah, 100%. He was the next obvious choice after Tony Adams. I don't think anyone else could have taken that role up, other than perhaps I think maybe Jens Lehmann when he come in, but I think he didn't start at the same time, did he? So I think there's no really other person who could have taken that role.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Absolutely. And he's won everything there is to win, really, in football, isn't there, Patrick Vieira?
He has now, yeah. He definitely has now.
Club and country.
Club and country, yeah. He's gone through it all.
Absolutely. So who's alongside him then? Because this would have been quite tough, really. You've had a few options there. So have you gone for alongside Patrick Vieira?
Well, I was tempted with Guendouzi.
Oh, really?
Just to really line Fergus up there. I'm only saying that because he's on here, he's in the background. But my next choice was obviously the unsung hero of the Invincible era is Gilberto Silva. Without him, I don't think we would have even got nowhere near getting to be invincible ever.
So true.
He is what most teams now want in a defensive midfielder, including us now. We've got one in Torreira, but I just don't think he's being utilised. But Gilberto was a class above everyone else, and he, by a million miles, was the best player in his position in the world. The way he could read the game so quickly and so easily. And obviously, when he puts a tackle in, he never really. I don't think he got many red cards or yellow cards, in fact, because he used to be so good.
Yeah, that's a great point. Do you think he was probably one of Arsenal's most underrated?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. He is the most underrated, and he's never really mentioned in any of the greats. I think it's only recently now I'm starting to see his name a bit more, with coming in for saying like, oh yeah, who's the best midfielder at Arsenal? And you think, well, yeah, there's Patrick Vieira there, but you can't forget about Gilberto Silva.
No, absolutely. I think that what's amazing when we actually bought him was he was mucking around in training for Brazil, and I think Emerson, who had his position at the time, was mucking around in goal and broke his arm. So Gilberto then played that World Cup, and that was when we bought him in 2002. Yeah. So if it weren't for Emerson breaking his arm, we might not have never had him. So
that's true, and
we thank him for that.
Yeah, 100%. Emerson. You did us a favour. You did us a massive favour.
I
I think you did him a favour as well.
It did massively. It did massively.
Yeah.
It did. Who have you gone for in front of him then, like in a number 10 role? Who have you gone for?
Right. Cesc Fabregas.
Go on then.
Coming up from the 2000, I think, for God's sake, what's going on now?
Something happened to your screen again, is it? Oh, we've lost him for the minute. We've lost him. What I might do is bring Fergus back in, seeing as he's controlling us, and then we'll have a chat with him as well. You there, Ferg?
I am indeed. I'm enjoying this.
Are you, mate? You're enjoying flicking all of the banners up.
My name is getting cast in all sorts of dispersions whatsoever. Yeah, I've enjoyed what Mike's talked about so far. Yeah, I do agree with Lehman, although I do hold the Champions League final. I hold him 100% responsible for the Champions League final. We should have won the Champions League that week, that time. Saul Gunnar, yeah, Cashley Cole, Bellerin. I'm not as convinced on Bellerin at the back as others. I know we're all screaming for Bellerin to come back into the lineup, but I think I've said it to you many times before that he can't cross himself in church, and defensively he's not the best player in the world. Going forward, yeah, he's great. Listen, is he any better than Iwobi?
Would you keep Chambers in instead of Bellerin?
I'd rather Chambers. If you're looking at modern footballers, I'd rather Chambers in a centre back position than Bellerin. But I don't think we've got an alternative at the right back at this moment in time. So Chambers and Bellerin, it's a difficult one because I don't rate Bellerin as much. I do agree with what Mike said about. He is very much an Arsenal man and could be a captain, etc. Toure, another unsung hero, similar to what you said about Gilberto. You said about the forward line. I didn't know he was a forward player. I knew he was a midfielder. And we took him on as a central midfielder along with some unknown useless player on trial, which was his brother Yaya, who I don't know what he ended up becoming. But
crazy. I must admit, I did because Yaya come as a defensive midfielder. Colo actually was more of a forward player, and then dropped as more of a defensive midfielder like Patrick Vieira. And the pair of them, I think, actually did kind of a trial at Arsenal as defensive midfielders. And Toure was a bit of a sort of utility player; really played wherever. Made himself into a centre back, and I thought Kolo Toure was so underrated and a massive fan's favourite. So when Scunny had picked him, I actually thought, that's a good shout for me. Scunny's just texted me saying his computer's turned off, so I don't know what's happened to his computer, but obviously he's having technical issues.
He looked at Gilberto. Gilberto, an unsung hero. I put Edu in the similar position, and I was torn between Gilberto and Edu because everyone's all about the flair players, but sometimes some of the hard-working players like Gilberto, like Edu, are never realised, and some of the work that they put in is unbelievable. I like Gilberto. I think he looks like a quiet gentleman and stuff. I don't, but go on.
I think Gilberto is probably the most underrated player that Arsenal have ever had. I do personally. So when he was talking about it, I just think he was so missed when he wasn't there. And I think that you said about Edu coming in. I liked Edu and I liked Parler. I thought they both did a job, but I don't think they did the same job as Gilberto. So for me, I would pick him as the most underrated Arsenal player. I would.
I can get that. Patrick Vieira, well, you know what? It's only now that I look back at some of the old footage, how long, tall, broad, athletic, difficult for me to say, athletic the guy is, and he was up for a fight as well. He didn't mess about, did he?
No, absolutely, and I think his leadership skills is for everyone to see. You love Vieira. I know you love Vieira because you've told me many times that you love Vieira, and I can't fault him. I think what he's done not just for Arsenal but for the country as well. You look at what he done for France. 98, 2000, 2002. For me, he was one of the best midfielders there's ever been. And, you can put him up there with Zidane, Pirlo, Scholes, Keane, Gerrard, Lampard. Vieira's right up there for me. And certainly as far as the Premier League's concerned, I'd probably say he was the best. And you can put Scholes next to him or Gerrard next to him, whatever. But for me, Patrick Vieira was the best Premier League defensive midfielder. So that's the way I see it. Scunny's just replied saying that technology-wise is killing him, but he is trying to join us back on. So hopefully we'll get him on.
One more player to talk about that he was talking about, and we're not going to do a forward line. We're going to give him a chance to do his forward line. But Cesc Fabregas was who you were just talking about before he got cut off. What's your thoughts on Fab?
Well, listen, I was always really, really kind of against hating him for coming to Chelsea because I did believe that he did want to come back. I feel that Arsene Wenger didn't want him back because I believed that he wasn't kind of afraid to say, this is Arsene Wenger, that the grass ain't always greener. And it did work for him in Barcelona. He was playing, but unfortunately when Pep went, Luis Enrique came in and wanted to sell Fabregas and Sanchez. We got Sanchez. Unfortunately, Chelsea got Fabregas. And I think that the one thing I would disagree on Arsene Wenger in terms of Fabregas back is that he said we had Ozil. Well, Ozil's nothing like Fabregas, nothing like him at all. We had Ramsey and Wilshere, so we could have used those two as kind of examples of we're going to be playing them instead of Fabregas. But Ozil's nothing like Fabregas at all, in my opinion. They're completely different players. Fabregas, I see more as a centre mid or a box-to-box. I don't see Ozil as that. I see him as purely a number 10. And at the time, Ozil wasn't exactly cutting the mustard. So Fabregas would have been a player we could have complemented with Ozil. So I was frustrated with him. In terms of him as a player for Arsenal, I thought he was by far one of our best, by far. And I feel that when you look at what he was doing at that time, where we had probably him and Van Persie, the only two, I thought Fabregas was right up there with one of the best in his position in the world. So, yeah, massive fan of Fabregas. Have we got Scunny back?
I was going to say, this is almost like, we planned all this, that we Scunny jumps back in, and we've just done your your keeper, your back four, your midfield three, your forward line is all up to you. I'm back. I'm removing myself from the stream.
It's a good job you were on, wasn't it? Really, to be
there
fair.
we go. It was.
Technology
wasn't it, mate,
hates me on a Sunday.
What was it, mate? Your computer just shut down.
Yeah, the wire to my. Oh, I don't think it's doing it again. Oh, it's charging. Yeah, the wire to my plug for my tablet that I use wasn't charging the pad, and I didn't realise, and that's what it was. So I've just changed the wire. So yes, I'm back. Hopefully, stay.
Bless you. Bless you. Well, we were talking about Fabregas just before you came on.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking about him. You had a bit of a say about him. What was your opinion on him going to Barcelona and not coming back and going to Chelsea? Because that's important for me.
Did you talk about him scoring that goal in that shirt against Tottenham in 2006? 2006,
go for
when
it.
He ran through their back four. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's why you love Fabregas.
Oh, well, that's one of the reasons, yeah. Obviously, I think you've probably covered it by now, so I'll have to have a listen to that myself later, but that's the reason why I chose Fabregas, because the way he was, he could score goals, he could tackle, he could be in the forward line, he could be in the defensive line. He was amazing, and and like Alex has just said there, I was just about to say the same, I don't blame him for going home. I think it was a bit daft after that World Cup when you started seeing people like Puyol and PK were throwing a shirt on him and stuff, and you could tell he was feeling a bit uncomfortable about it. I think it was wrong in some respects to let him go. I think we should have tried everything to make him stay, even if we didn't. I don't know. But yeah, I think everyone wants to go home at some point. He was a Barcelona youth. He come to us when he was young as well. So it's just one of them things that happens. When we come to buy him back, though, from Barcelona, I think that was the most stupidest thing that we didn't do. I think by far we should have bought him back. We had first refusal on him. So why the hell shouldn't we have bought him back? It's ridiculous.
What's your thoughts on Arsene Wenger's comments on it? Because there's no place for him in the team. We've got Mesut Ozil. What do you think of that?
Idiot.
Two
Absolutely
different
idiot.
players, though, aren't they? There's nothing like Ozil, is he?
No, nothing. Nowhere near the same. Fabregas is far better.
Yeah, great. Well, agreed. I agree with that.
Far better.
Yeah, absolutely. So him going to Chelsea then, what did you make of that? Was that just because he didn't come to Arsenal, he wanted to come back to London, or
Possibly. I think we just missed it there. We should have gone for him. No doubt about it. I don't blame him to go. I don't blame him that he went to Chelsea. He had to go somewhere. Barcelona didn't want him anymore, so
I think he's never really bad-mouthed Arsenal, has he? You know, a lot of fans have bad-mouthed him for going to Chelsea, but he's managed to. You can see he still loves the club.
And he did the best thing ever, and he threw pizza at Alex Ferguson's head.
Mate, you cannot fault him for that. Everyone's got to love him for that. And that.
Of course, yeah. And the fact that he admits it now is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Either side of him, then. I'll let you start on the left. Who have you gone for?
Perez, definitely.
Yeah, it's quite easy, wasn't it?
Bobby Perez, yeah, 100%. And I think this is the thing that he didn't have the best of starts when he come from Marseille. He took him a year to get in, and then obviously after that year, there you go. He was amazing, and he keeps
Super Bob. Yeah, no. For me, it was one of the easiest picks for me on the left-hand side, and I did kind of consider other midfielders but I didn't consider taking him out, if that makes sense. So I considered, do you know what I mean? Because I looked at Overmars and I did like him, and I kind of, thought it's got to be Perez for me. He was better,
Perez 100%. We've not replaced him in any respect at all. He's another player that we never replaced. So it's just one of them things, and I don't think anyone's really ever come close to him at Arsenal. To be on that left-hand side, he was unreal when he got going. He could breeze past players. He could score some great goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the reason why I've picked him. Fergus is quick.
I don't know why Fergus has put that up 3 times. I've already put it up as well. But yeah, thank you for that. We get that comment, Alex. I think that in terms of Perez in the Champions League final, he was perhaps sacrificed and quite harshly treated. Obviously, when he got sent, Lehmann got sent off when he had to sacrifice that one, and Perez come off as a sub. That kind of the nail in his coffin. Do you think really that he was done at Arsenal?
I think that was it. Yeah, I think he was done after that.
Yeah,
it was a shame because I think he probably could have. If anyone was going to change that game, it would have been him in one of them anyway. 100%. So it was just a shame that it had to be him that comes off, but someone had to be sacrificed, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, fair enough, mate. Over the other side, then, who have you gone for?
Theo Walcott.
You've gone for who? Sorry, Theo Walcott. I was going to say.
No. God, no.
Would have been interesting to have that one. Oh, he's back.
You're not having that one. Not when I hear about that Barnett he's got in a minute as well.
What is he doing? What is all that about?
He couldn't help himself, could he?
That is a good link into who you are really going to talk about.
Oh, Freddie. Big Freddie.
Freddie with the red hair. We love you, Freddie, with your big red hair. There we go. Thank you for that, Fergus. There we go. See, it does work. It does work.
Couldn't help himself, could he? Couldn't help
Before we go on to Freddie as a player, just want to hear your thoughts, Scunny, on him as the under 23s coach and obviously as our assistant manager now. Freddie.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's doing really well as the under 23s coach. He did amazing with them kids. To be fair, with that youth team, there was winning games. There was doing things. There was doing things in how I would say the Arsenal way, as how we see Arsenal playing. And obviously now he's an assistant manager. I think it's better than Steve Bold because I wasn't. Oh, for God's sake, it's gone off again.
Has it? Oh, it's done, yeah. I'll bring Fergus back in then, I think. Ferg, he's gone again, mate. It must be something that I'm saying to him, I reckon. Must be something I'm doing wrong.
That's wrong. But you know what? It's really interesting. Bobby Perez, yeah, brilliant. But Freddie, the influence he's had over our youth squad and our cup squads, and apparently he's managing them. Would you have him as our next manager?
I'd like to keep Unai Emery because I feel that he should be given the chance to get us into where I believe we should be finishing. If we don't finish where I think we should be finishing, which is third, fourth, like at the very least, then I think Freddie may be given the reins. All I will say is that it needs to be, in my opinion, done better than it was with the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer situation at Man United, because when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over, he did do well. Those players wanted to basically win because they hated Mourinho, and that's what they did. To the end of the season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have been given that job, and that was it, and then he should have gone. So I think that there needs to be a clear understanding, if we are going to get Freddie in at some stage, what he is. Is he our kind of stopgap until we get somebody like a Diego Simeone or whoever it be, or is it going to be a Freddie Ljungberg, you're in charge and you take the reins in everything that we do? I've been impressed, if the rumours are true, about him taking over the under-23 games, the Europa League games and the Cup games with the youngsters, because if that is true, there's clearly a different style that he plays, which I do like, because I think you'd agree at the Emirates this season, some of the best games you've seen has been those young kids.
Yeah, totally, and so was Joseph. Joseph's loved it. You know, we're seeing some attacking football. We're seeing some. It's a bit like going back to the days when Freddie played with like Henri and Bobby and many of the players that that Mike has talked about. But yeah, it's good. Listen. I think it's probably a little bit too early for him. But I've talked several times to you guys in the pub and to other people in other pubs. I go to pubs.
You love a pub.
Irish. You look at Gerrard, don't like Gerrard as a personality and a player and stuff. Fat Frank, don't like him as a personality and a player as such. And even Ollie. But they are products of what I've watched grow, which is the Premier League. So I would really, really, really like for Freddie, Henri, Vieira, different players come up and make it to the top level of management within the Premier League. He's run out of lights, hasn't he? No money in the meter.
I don't know if you can hear me, guys. All right, I've having to use my phone. Where there's a will, there's a way.
That's fine, mate.
Good man. It's all good, mate. It's all good.
I apologise. So you're going to take a trip round my room while I get the lights open.
That's fine, mate. Honestly,
so
don't worry.
You're going to do your forward line. We were just saying about
my forward one.
Forward one.
Yeah. My forward one, and that would be the one and only Thierry Henry.
Yeah, I think everyone's got to pick him. You said earlier about Adams having to be in there and so Vieira. I think everyone's got to put this guy in, haven't they?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I apologise. My youngest is having a moment.
That's all right, mate.
So if you can hear him in the background, I apologise.
It's just he loves Thierry Henry as well. That's what it is.
At all. It's not going well. I'm having a right mare.
It's fine, mate. You're a busy man. We get it.
Yeah, kids, mate. Sunday.
Yeah,
you know how
absolutely.
it goes. Yeah, like I said, Thierry Henry, and it's got to be Thierry Henry. And my earliest memory, or my only memory that really stands out for me with him, was the backheel goal against Watford, because I was sat at the North Bank when that happened.
Oh wow, brilliant, mate!
Oh yeah.
That was a hell of a goal, wasn't
it? That was it for me, and that's what changed me.
Yeah, he was superb.
With Thierry Henry, you can't pick anyone else for the Arsenal forwards. I think Bergkamp's definitely there with a shout, 100%, and I agree. And I understand why people pick Bergkamp, but I had to go with Thierry Henry for that. And I can only pick 11, unfortunately. If I could pick a 12th, it would be Bergkamp.
There we go. That was what question I was going to ask you, was about Bergkamp. In terms of Thierry Henry, though, do you think anyone will ever beat his record, or do you think that's done now?
It's going to take a lot to beat that record. I think if anyone's going to beat it, they're going to have to come in young and stay with us for a while, which it doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think now it's gonna stay for a while, because I don't think players stay there long enough, as you just said. So I don't think it will be that. But yeah, mate. You talked about Bergkamp. Obviously, my favourite ever Arsenal player was Ian Wright. Did you get to see much of Ian Wright at all? Or?
I don't think I did. I can't remember ever seeing him. The only things I see him on is obviously highlights and what I've watched on YouTube and stuff like that. Ian Wright, and I love the guy. I think he's great. I really do. And he's another one who's Arsenal through and through. So it's one of them. So I'm happy that people pick Ian Wright as well. If obviously I never really the rules of this was you've got to have seen him play. I can't remember ever seeing him play. So and I think that's why I've done it.
Fair enough, mate. Scunny, you can see it on the screen now. This is your 1 to 11, mate. You have gone for Jens Lehmann in goal, the nutter himself. You have gone for Hector Bellerin at right back, Ashley Cole at left back, Sol Campbell and Kolo Toure, which is a great partnership for me. I think that's one that we haven't talked about. A lot of people talk about Tony Adams, and you know, obviously that partnership went unbeaten. So you have to respect that. Vieira and Gilberto, for me, fantastic partnership. And Cesc Fabregas, who I'm glad you have put in and we had a chance to talk about, because I think there's a lot of controversy over Cesc. Pires on the left, Lundberg on the right, and Thierry Henry centre forward. If you could pick one manager, Scunny, who would it be? Would it be Arsene Wenger?
No, I've only got a choice of two.
Right, yeah, you're going to have to
they're
go for Arsenal.
They're the only choices I've got, so unfortunately it's going to have to be Arsene Wenger.
And your captain of that team, is that obvious as well?
Yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Patrick Vieira?
Yeah, it's obvious, mate, all the way.
Not Bellerin?
Not this time. He's not ready for that yet. He's not in this team. Not in this one. If this team was out today or tomorrow, no, it'd have to be Patrick Vieira. If Vieira wanted in the team, mate, 100% Bellerin.
There we go. Absolutely.
Mike, I love it. Your forwards.
I'd just like to point out as well, the only reason why I've picked Bellerin, because I think he's got potential, and I think he's going to show that in the next coming couple of seasons. I think you're going to see
I hope he does.
Massive difference.
I agree. He showed a lot of potential last season before he got injured.
He muted himself.
I haven't muted myself.
Are you good, Scunny? Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I agree. I think Bellerin improved a lot.
Yeah.
Since,
I don't know. I can't hear Fergus. He's chuntering away and I can't hear him.
Oh, you can't hear Fergus? Okay.
No.
Not sure why. he's taking him out.
He just likes to get involved.
Mate, thank you very much. I enjoyed that, mate. I hope you did. I know we had some technical issues, mate. But,
mate, technology.
We got through it.
It really does.
We got through it, mate. So that's the main thing.
Just.
Absolutely.
I should have just done the phone straight away.
We are going to love you and leave you now, because we're going to go and watch Liverpool trounce Man United by 3 or 4 goals at Old Trafford.
7-0. You heard it here first.
Yeah, it's going to be that way, isn't it? It is going to be that way. You have been listening to another episode of Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Scunny Mike, thank you very much, mate. I'm sure we'll see you on Wednesday night, where we're going to be talking more Arsenal. Let's hope. And good luck tomorrow, mate. I really hope that you enjoy it and we get the 3 points.
I just hope it's not raining.
Oh, mate. Have you gone for a score prediction? I can't remember what you went for.
1-0. I think we're going to win 1-0.
1-0 to the Arsenal.
I think.
Yeah,
I honestly believe it. I want Arsenal to win. We need to win, so I've gone for 1-0. But I think if anything, I think we're going to get a draw.
No one's gone for a convincing 3 or 4 goals win, have they? Everyone's gone for a tight sort of.
Someone has. I think Max has from Bros. I think he went for a 4-1 win. I think he's dreaming there, to be honest.
Well, I think he is dreaming, if I'm honest, because I can't see that it's going to be that. But we'll see. Ferg, what have you gone for? Predictions tomorrow?
I went for 2-1, and as for Max, that gin in Australia is very, 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 very strong.
Very strong. Very
strong.
Oh, you can hear me now, Mike. Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you now, mate. Yeah.
Listen, with regards to your team, Henry up front, I really, really like Henry. And my best memory of Henry up front was at Sunderland away. There was Arshavin and Henry we ended up, we were 1-0 down to Sunderland, and we were in the South Bank lower there, and Arshavin got a goal, and Arshavin assisted Henry, and he came up and he dived into it. I'm sure it's on my YouTube channel. I was down with the police with everybody just piled out the front. So for me, on Henry,
that was when he come back, wasn't it, to Arsenal?
Yeah.
Because I was at the game at the Emirates at Leeds when he came back and scored. That was unbelievable. When he came back and scored, that was unbelievable. I could written in the stars. Couldn't believe it had happened, you know. And there's a couple of goals he scored down our end, and one of them was the last minute against Man United with a header. We won 2-1, and the other one was that Leeds goal. And yeah, he was just top draw, wasn't he? Top draw player.
100%. A goat, mate. Absolute goat.
Listen, there are players. So we way overrun our half hour. So there are players that you think, and that's your technological problems. There are players that you think that are Arsenal through and through. Thierry Henry being one of them. Ian Wright, Kevin Campbell, which hopefully we're going to meet in a couple of weeks or so. Dan, but there are players that just ooze Arsenal, and there's one guy that has Fabregas. I think he oozes Arsenal as well. I
honestly think if he would have come running back if we had bought him back from Barcelona. I think he would have come. No question about it. I think he would have come straight back.
And the sorry thing about Fabregas is. We let him go for the sake of Ozil.
Did we? Oh, yeah. Oh, let him go, yeah.
I just think it's crazy.
Sorry, I had a brain fart then. But,
I can't believe that is the case, because I don't think there's any similarities, and I don't think there's any difference in like who's better than who. It's obvious for me that Fabregas is twice the player as Ozil ever will be.
No, 100%. He's a workhorse.
For the Premier League, I think, yes.
Yeah, 100%. And Fabregas is a workhorse. You'll always see him. You'll always see him doing work. You'll always see him going round. He'll always want the ball. He'll always try and get back the ball.
What are you trying to say, Scunny, that Ozil doesn't work very hard?
When do you ever see him? When do you ever see him?
Of course,
Mr. Invisible.
And
you got Mr. Arsenal and Mr. Invisible.
Absolutely. So, Scunny, if that team was to play in the Premier League today, where would it finish?
Oh, top, obviously, without a shadow.
You reckon?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Even today.
Yeah, I can't disagree, if I'm honest. I think City and Liverpool would have even struggled to break that team down, if I'm honest.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely. Brilliant. Boys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Ferg, I'm going to let you take control and close the show with what you need to say, and I'm going to go and get myself watching Liverpool spank Man United.
Dan, as always, you've done really, really well with this. Scunny, thank you very much. I know, as you said at the start, your introduction to Arsenal is a lot earlier than mine. Mine was also early. I think, Scunny, you're into it more than me. But yeah, thank you very much. The idea of this is it's by Arsenal fans, for Arsenal fans. Thank you very much, Pottsey.
Thank you, mate.